Hey everybody, so I wanted to give my take on one stock that I might get a lot of hate for, and that is SoFi. And it's on my list. I had it before and I sold it, got rid of it, but it's on my stocks to that I dislike. So this is stock likes, and trying to get used to that. And but I just it's really one that I can't stand, and there's so much love for it, so there's probably going to be a ton of hate on this. But I have 5 reasons that I don't like it, and I sold all my shares. I think it was last year. And the quick rundown. Like first off, yeah, I know you guys. A lot of the younger crowd and everything, they're jumping on the SoFi. It's like the latest financial technologies, like this great banking stock that banking services do a lot of student loans, business like that. And but let's get down to it. Like the first number one thing that I don't like about SoFi, it's still just a bank hidden within a technology company. It's a technology company that does the banking services, but in a way they're kind of late to the game. There's been so many other banks that are ahead of them, like even like Capital that have been doing online banking for years, and SoFi just got into it. They're jumping ahead of all the technology, yeah, but it's those services have already been out there for years. Like say for Capital One online banking, there's a bunch of other ones. I didn't want to get into it. It's more like a general term. And then another thing, like it's a younger demographic that's really into this bank. That's the bank, basically. That's what I think it is. It's this a niche online bank. That's what I feel about SoFi. And a lot of younger crowd, it's cool for them. They do everything online with it, but that they find a way where a lot of stuff you can do online through your phone, and I get that too. Like pay your bills. I do the same thing, but every once in a while you need to go to the bank and get some cash. But it's just the hassle. I'm sure they have. I know they have places where you can take your money out, but it's just the hassle. Instead, if you have one spot you can go to, like for Capital One online, I don't bother because they're in like CVS pharmacy or some sketchy like ATM machine in a pharmacy or something like that, and it's kind of turns me off. And then the to deposit money, just the pain to do that. You either have to take a picture, so you can send it in, or you can't really deposit that I know of at the bank, or it's not well known. So that's one thing. I just feel like it's a niche online bank that just catering to younger crowd. So and then the next one I have to say is it's number 3. It's heavy competition from online banking. Like there's a ton of other online banking options available. Even from the traditional banks, they have online banking, which is kind of cumbersome, and they don't give you the options, many of the options that say like other banks that are just completely online. There's other traditional banks that they have the brick and mortar, and you go there, you can get your cash out and deposit your check or anything like that. I think it's easier like to do it that way, to get cash out one way, but if they find a way they can, I mean, you can do a lot of transfer money back and forth, but if you need physical cash, you have to go to those traditional to get that money. I mean, you could still, yeah, take it out like when you go to a store or maybe the ATM machine, stuff like that. But I think it's just more of a hassle to do it that way for me, anyways. And then sometimes you do have a check you want to deposit in the bank, or talk to somebody in person. But that's just an age demographic thing where younger, they don't really want to do any of that stuff. But it's still, there's some crux in there where sometimes, yeah, you really want to get the cash out, or you don't want to have to go to some weird location to get your money out, and some third party were or trying to make a deposit that way or something. So I've always had like one traditional and then one online. SoFi never made sense to me. I just consider an online bank. So that's one thing. The heavy competition is fierce for SoFi, and I think it's always going to be that for a long time. It's going to always have that label that it's a bank, and that's all that's ever going to happen for me unless things change. But they always SoFi Technologies, they don't consider themselves a bank, but for me, I consider them. Everybody else considers them, except for a different demographic, maybe. And then another thing, like I've seen with other, why I dropped it before this, the earnings have been subpar for a long time. And I tried to get on board with them, but I just couldn't do it. Because I've seen that with other cases that I've had, other companies that I've owned, and then they were just one penny, just barely making a profit. How SoFi is just barely making anything. And I eventually just gave up. If the you're not making any money, they're not making any money, the stock's is always going to linger between $5 and $15. I don't think it's ever going to take off. I could be wrong there, but it's just I don't have the patience to wait around for it to eventually do it. I mean, you could build up a ton of shares that way when it's at this low price, but there's no guarantee that it's ever going to even take off or do anything. There's been tons of stock that had that hope like that I can name that just turned out to be duds. They had this promise that they're going to innovate this space, and it just never happened, like satellite radio or something like that. And then they just turned into just being this niche that just nobody really, they never made any money in the end, and the stock never performed. So that's my take there. And then the fifth one is people still have a need for traditional banks, traditional banking, and then it's a lot of older folks, and they don't relate to just doing 100% online. Like maybe for me, I'm maybe 80% online and 90% almost, but I still have a need to go to a traditional bank, to get cash out. I just trust it more than just going to some little dingy place to get your cash out that they partied with, they have a third party connection with, and that way it's just it's not for me. It's like you're going down on vacation, like in Miami, and then going to some 7-Eleven and getting your cash out that way. You're looking behind your back. That's how I always feel about those ATM machines. If you're in a nice neighborhood, yeah, but if I don't trust it. Yeah, if it's like a last resort kind of thing for me. And a lot of the people that go to there, they think they're going to get charged ATM fees. They still have that misconception too, that there's gonna be a charge there, and that's why they don't even bother. They don't even look to see maybe there won't be a charge. So they stay with the traditional banks. So for me, it's just SoFi is just a niche bank with the label technology over it, and a lot of younger demographic loves the stock, so I'm probably gonna get hate there. But it's just the way I see it. Until that changes, maybe they're early to that party and things change, and eventually traditional banks start to less and less. I think when AI comes on board, you probably won't have those. You'll have a lot of them are switching just to have ATM machines. They don't even have a teller anymore. But even further down the road, when AI is still really, you could even have robots just handling your cash, or some Tesla bot down the road. But anyway, you're still gonna need to maybe have some one way to talk to somebody. I don't even see the need that much for talking to somebody with to get a mortgage or anything like that anymore. I think I did it in the beginning one time, and it was just ridiculous. Their rates were way above than what I expected. And then I went all online. It was so much easier. Even back in the day, you had to fax everything and all that stuff. I think that's all crazy, and then nobody's going to go back to any of that stuff. Mailing your bill or anything, like, everybody's walking away from that, just doing 80%, 90% online. But the thing is, just there's still a need for that traditional bank. Maybe that will change down the road. Like, you want to get something notarized, you can go to a traditional bank. You can't really, it's a pain to try to do that online. You can do that online, have a mobile notary, but by the time you do it, you can almost just freaking just go to the traditional bank. There's not much time savings there to wait around for the notary, and when you can just make an appointment with the traditional bank and get it done that way. I mean, eventually, maybe they'll be downsized. Those traditional banks will be less and less. The need for, like, maybe you have one person, a few people working there, and then have it all, the rest of it automated. And maybe it's a smaller bank storefront, if you call it that. But I think you still need it. Even like Capital One, which is mostly an online bank, they still have some locations, brick and mortar, where you can get coffee and stuff like that. But I think it's just, SoFi is just the imitation of Capital One online banking to me. And there's other banks, online banking, there's tons of them. I don't even care to list them, but it's just, that's what I feel like. That's why I don't bother with the stock anymore, because for me, it's just a bank with technology, financial service label to it, which, unless they can make cash print out of thin air, you can print it out of your phone or something, or sure, it's never going to happen. So it's not going to, you still have a need to go to a traditional bank. That's what I think. So those are my 5 things. It's still a bank. It's just a niche, has a niche with younger demographic, younger people. And then there's this heavy competition. Just the earnings have been so subpar for so long for me. And then 5, there's still a traditional bank. Like, the baby boomers are never going to use SoFi. They're traditional. And then the Gen X is still traditional. And they're just down the road, even, they're still traditional. People need traditional banks. I don't even really think it's really, there's that wall there that you still need traditional banks. So I don't even feel like it is one part of it, but every group, every age group still needs some way a traditional bank. You can't tell me that you can't go to the bank. You have to have some way to get cash out instead of waiting in line at some Walmart or something like that to get your money out. But that is just me. So yeah, if you like this video, hit like, subscribe. If you don't, that's fine. So that's up to you, I understand. But I like to make more videos like this, more financial and stocks. Really enjoy that. And I hope you guys like to listen. But all right, that's my take. So everybody have a good day, and I'll see you later on the next one. Peace.